Hey, it's your boy Shaun and welcome to Supercars from the Hood. On today's episode, I wanted to do something a little different. I want to do a top 5 list of luxury cars under $20,000. Now, while doing research for this list, I realized that a lot of the cars are compact luxury cars. So today's list is going to be top 5 compact luxury cars for under $20,000. Now, I try to pick the cars that didn't have so many miles on it, nothing over 50,000 miles. A lot of cars on today's list will have the same functionality, a lot of the same features. What it really comes down to is personal preference. What car design do you like more? Which car brand you like more? Also, a lot of cars on today's list will be base model because it seems like if you want a newer car that's a luxury car, that the base model is the closest thing under 25,000 miles that doesn't have a lot of miles on it that you'll get. So just know you'll get what you pay for. If you want better, you'll have to pay a little higher. With that said, let's start the episode. First on today's episode, we're going to start with the Cadillac ATS. The ATS is either going to be the most powerful or the weakest car on today's list, depending on what year you find it. If you find it in 2016, you'll get a turbocharged inline 4, which makes 272 horsepower. If you get it earlier, you only find it with the inline 4 that makes 202 horsepower. The ATS can be found in rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, automatic or manual. Surprisingly, this Cadillac has the smallest trunk on today's list at a little over 10 cubic feet. Something to think about for the people that want to use the car for a grand tour. Exterior style wise, the ATS is one of the best looking cars on today's list. Interior is where things start to get a little shaky. The ATS is very sporty looking, very clean looking, but not luxurious as far as I'm concerned. And then there's the Cadillac user experience. I don't know what that is. I don't know who came up with that name, but they need to be fired. And from what I understand, the whole setup is not even that intuitive. The touchscreen doesn't respond very well. It's a mess. And hopefully Cadillac will get it together with the next model of cars. Speaking of, it seems like Cadillac's gonna do away with the ATS and the CTS and replace both cars with the CT5, which kind of sucks, but Cadillac wants to go another direction with the naming. You gotta trust the Cadillac marketers. They probably know what they're doing. If they don't, then you know what's gonna happen. With that said, on to the next car. Now the next car on today's list is gonna be the Infiniti Q50. The Q50 might be the only V6 on today's list that makes 328 horsepower with 269 pound-foot of torque. The fuel economy is not going to be as good with the bigger engine. You get 20 miles on a city and 29 miles on a highway. The Q50 also has the biggest trunk on today's episode with 13.8 cubic feet, which makes it pretty practical if you want to go out shopping or if you plan on going on long vacations. I have to admit, even though it's not my favorite, the Infiniti Q50 is the best looking car on today's episode. For me, it's gonna go down as one of the most beautiful cars I've ever seen. The interior quality is good. It also boasts a very sporty design, which I could see is very trendy for these luxury car brands. I don't know if it's an entry level thing or if they try to appeal to younger people. I'm a little older, so a lot of it doesn't appeal to my taste. The touchscreen is pretty intuitive, easy to use. Standard features are backup camera, keyless go, keyless entry, heated seats, auto climate control, Bluetooth, to name a few. You really can't go wrong choosing the Q50. Next on today's episode, we're going to go with the BMW 328i. This BMW has a turbo 4-cylinder that makes 241 horsepower with 260 pound-foot of torque. Every generation the 3 Series seems to get bigger, longer, wider, and beastier. I don't know why. I don't know what's up with the trend that BMW is going on. If I was to hazard a guess, I would assume it has something to do with either safety regulations or them wanting to appeal to the Chinese auto market. It's only a guess. I really don't know. Now let's talk about the design of this car. It's very BMW. I know that's the generic thing to say, but when I see it, I automatically know what it is, even though it's a lot bigger than the BMW 3 Series was when I was a kid. What I want to talk about with the BMW is the interior styling. It's alright, it's nice and all that. What I really want to get on is the dashboard. There's a running gag between me and my friends that the dashboard of the BMW has been the same since the late 90s. Give or take LED screens and fancy radios or what have you. Maybe with the BMW it is all about the driving quality and not about the interior styling and interior design and all that nonsense. Maybe they know what their customer base really wants. And every time I look at a 3 Series, I see a reasonable price and I always think if I save a little bit more money, I can always get that M. That's the one thing that holds me back. Well, that and I'm flat broke. If I'm keeping me from jumping in a BMW, that one step, that one extra step that can lead me into an M car. But if you really want to get into a BMW, the 328i is an excellent car to start off with. Up next, we have the Audi A4. Design wise, the A4 is going to be the most bland car on today's episode. It's not too flashy and it looks better than the generation before it. But there's one caveat with the A4. It didn't get an interior refresh to the model year 2016. So it's gonna have a very old navigation system, very old backup camera if it has a backup camera, very old radio layout. The whole interior is gonna just be dated. I'm gonna keep it 100. I hate the seats inside the A4. I don't know why they designed them like that. They're atrocious looking. I prefer the seats in the S4. If you don't care about the old tech and the old infotainment system, the A4 is perfect. If you're like me and want the most of your money, save up a little more and go for the 2016 A4. And finally, the last car on today's episode, the Mercedes-Benz C300. The C300 has a turbo 4-cylinder that has 241 horsepower and 273 pound-foot of torque. Now I have to say the C-Class is my favorite car on the list. Now I know a lot of people hate the fact that it looks like an S-Class. That's actually one of my favorite parts about the car. I could never afford a new S-Class, and the S-Class will never fit in my driveway, so the C-Class is perfect for me. Though I'll admit the C-Class isn't the best looking car on today's episode. That honor goes to the Q50. Though the C-Class does have the most luxurious interior, but that's only if you care about stuff like that. The C-Class infotainment system is pretty cool, but the touchpad has a learning curve, so it can take a while to get used to. Once you get past that, it's pretty good. For under $20,000, a used C-Class can be pretty damn good. With that said, it's time to bring this episode to a close. Now I know I could have added a couple more cars to the list, cars with higher mileages, cars with a couple years on them, but I wanted to keep the list as short as possible. I don't want the episode dragging on. And fear not, my future subscribers, there'll be more lists to come, more hijinks from your boy Shaun. So if you want to catch that, you gotta come here, right here, where I do everything. So if you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. If you want to see what I got planned next, come see what I got planned next. I got a lot in store for this channel, and I want you to be there with me. Alright, I'll catch you guys later.